to Sports Matters TV, bringing you exclusive interviews plus the latest in boxing, MMA, football, wrestling, GAA, darts and snooker. We cover it all. Now here's your host, Jerry Coughlan.
Okay, so welcome to Sports Matters with me, Jerry Coughlan. I'm joined by a Cork City legend. It's rare I get starstruck, to be honest, but when it comes to Cork City, he's laughing. When it comes to Cork City, I'm a massive fan. This fellow's consistent, absolute quality coming up that wing. Neal Horgan, how's things with you, my man?
Hey, how are you? Glad to be here.
You're very busy as always.
Yeah, just came from UCC, coaching UCC freshers, so we just won a game against Mayfield, which was great.
What was the scoreline?
2-1. 2-1.
Close game, so.
Very close, just hanging in at the end.
How's things going down there at the moment?
It's great, like it's different obviously from playing. I'm there 2 years now, so there's a different buzz when you win.
Yeah.
When you lose, it still feels bad, but probably not as bad in some ways.
Yeah.
I don't think you get as connected as when you were a player, like, you know. But it's enjoyable. I enjoy it, you know. And UCC freshers, they're very. We've the Harding Cup in 2 weeks' time, so they're very committed and they're good lads, you know.
They're behaving and all out partying.
Yeah, you know what? They don't drink as much as we used to actually.
That's
good.
Yeah,
it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing.
Definitely. And like I have to talk. Did you miss playing? Because obviously you still play in the night leagues, or do you still kind of have a kick around?
I played with Wilton actually, believe it or not. So I stopped playing for a while. I went playing GA with St Finbarrs, my club. Well, initially I retired from Cork City. I came back to Cork City. Long story short, as a volunteer when they were in trouble, and got the great buzz of winning the first division when I was back. But I was on my last legs then, like, you know, and I had gone back. Working full time. I'd gone working full time. So essentially, John Caulfield met me 2014, I think it was 2015. Asked me to come back, but he told me that they were going back training in the mornings.
Yeah.
So that wasn't going to suit. So I lasted a year, and I told him, look, I have to go, and then. So I found my way back into football from then. But it was nice. It was nice to see John's first year in management, having played with him 15, 16 years before that. It was nice to see that next step going on with the club, which is going from, you know, from stage to stage. Now they're doing fantastic, like,
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
That is. Like, I want to talk about the books. The first book, first of all,
two books. Yeah.
The first one, like the books, like they're fantastic. It's great to have an insight and stuff, you know, from a player. Tell us about the first book for anyone that hasn't seen it yet. Yeah,
so the first book, I suppose my inspiration for it, if inspiration is a strong word, but what it came from Eamon Dunphy's Only a Game, which was a diary of the Millwall season. I'm not sure what year, 1973, 74. What I liked about it was, I can remember Alan Bennett, who's back playing in Cork City, we were both reading it on the team bus. I think I bought it. I definitely bought it because Alan Bennett doesn't. He's cheap. He's cheap. And I lent it to him afterwards, and we both thought, you know what, they're getting the details here, which you don't get in some books because it was, you know, kept at the time in a diary format. Whereas looking back, if you're writing a book 10 years forward, you're not going to remember the details. So we I suppose we related to that, and I thought, you know what, I'll keep a diary. So I kept a diary. About the same time actually as a sports psychologist came into the club. George Tracy was his name, under Damien Richardson. And we were trying to get to the next level. You meet sports psychologists and you kind of have to embrace it. And like one of the things he said to me was, you know, keep a diary, keep control of your thoughts, whatever. So between those two things, kept the diary. 2008 season was when the club went into examinership. That's the first book. It's called Death of Football Club ? And that's the first book, and it goes through us going what we thought we were going on a crest of a wave with Arcadia. Came in, big money, we were full time. They kept telling us this was the club to be at, anyone who wanted to leave, and we were getting good offers at the time. They were saying, you know, you need to stay here. We're going to build this huge stadium in Cork, multi-purpose stadium. And within, you know, halfway through the season, they just pulled out without any notice to the players. So that was good for the book. You know, so the diary, we were like, well, what's going on? Like, it was very unstable time, I suppose, unstable time for us. But it was in it was just before Celtic Tiger. The recession really started kicking in, so we were just ahead of it. And then that book ends with Tom Coughlan coming in as chairman. And we're back on what seemed a solid footing again. We won the Santa Cup. Alan Matthews is the manager. So it was good. It was good. I got good feedback in relation to it. A lot of jokes about Dennis Bean, which went down well with everybody, including Dennis. So that was the first book, and I ended up writing a second one as well. as you know.
I do know it's great to have these things, and it's a good insight. Like, tell us, like, back when times were good at City, how good were they?
Brilliant, unbelievable. Actually, one of the people helping me with the UCC Freshers is Brian Lennox, my uncle, who used to be chairman in the good times.
I love Lennox's chipper as well. I have to mention Lennox's chipper. I still get there. Like, I shouldn't be because I'm a trainer, but I still get there.
It's good. It's definitely fantastic food. I love Jack Lennox's myself.
Yeah.
But Brian and myself would have chats about old days. Now I don't know what story came to mind today. There was one anyway. European trips and stuff like that. You know, just amazing stuff looking back. But to answer your question, I suppose winning the league really was as good as it got for us, and it was just amazing. It was just, everything was like we were walking on air. Unfortunately, it only lasted 2 weeks because we lost cup final 2 weeks later.
I remember I was there. I was crying. It was a draw, wasn't it?
Draw, yeah. So it was a small, short 2 weeks of glory. Yeah, absolute glory, because we felt like we were full-time footballers. We won the league. The league was going that way. Yeah. We were going that way. We were playing the Champions League next year. But unfortunately we lost the cup final, and we weren't able really to pick ourselves up for whatever reasons over the next few years. But it was an amazing experience, and a privilege to be playing full-time football in Cork or in Ireland. We're a rare enough breed of full-time footballers in Ireland, and we were lucky enough to have experienced that.
Definitely. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I heard the wages were pretty decent back then.
They weren't bad. Joe Gamble's wages were good.
I heard Georgie was doing all right. I heard.
Look, fairness now, supply and demand. And at the time, looking back, probably things could have been done better. But I know, for example, with Joe's, he was being offered more at Pat,
of course,
and he stayed. At the end of 2000, or it was before 2008 season. So we wanted to keep our best players, and that's what happens. It's probably what happens a lot with clubs around the world, but in the League of Ireland in particular. If you have a few good years, you want to keep your best players, you're going to have to pay big wages.
Definitely.
Because the Dublin clubs are going to. The Dublin clubs are always paying more wages than in Cork, generally speaking, because it's just more players up there, and the competition is greater. So if you want to keep players in Cork, then the wages are going to go up, and that's what happened. Now it meant we had full-time pros in the club. We had a full-time background team that were building. But my own opinion is that the league couldn't sustain it.
Of course.
Quite apart from any one individual team going full-time. And I suppose the danger is now, bring it back to today, is like Shamrock Rovers are going full time, and I must say, first of all, Shamrock Rovers have probably gone about this the right way. They've gone, I know they've gone through schools, they've brought in some great players from the past, so they're doing things the right way, and I think they're a fantastic club. But I'd be worried for the likes of them and Bray Wanderers in the absence of an overarching plan for full time football from the FAI. That sounds really harsh because I talk about it quite a lot.
You know your stuff though, which is good.
Well, it's the topic that I suppose I talk about and I write about a bit, and the books actually have kept me in the game a little bit, that way you end up talking in circles, people ask you about it all the time.
Of course.
So it's hard to escape.
Of course, definitely. And what do you think needs to be done? Because you've seen, no disrespect to Waterford, they're a fantastic club. They're spending a lot of money this year. Obviously there's good wages down there, because we've seen the likes of Mark Sullivan and a couple of good names going down there. They need to come up this year. If they don't, then what's going to happen? They could be in trouble.
Yeah, I think the way they've changed to 10 teams, I think maybe at the time, some people, I thought up till now it's been 8 teams for the last few years. The 10 teams would be better for the first division, but what it means is that it's only one team going to get promoted. So everyone else is thinking, if Waterford are very strong, what's our season going to be like, But I think overall, it's not a question of moving from 12 to 10 teams or anything. I think that's really superficial stuff. And they need to look at structurally the whole thing. How important is our domestic game, and re-prioritising it. Of course. Because it's not the priority of our governing association throughout 100 years. Do you know what I mean? It's not the current incumbents that are to blame either. It's not John Delaney. This is something that's been going on for 100 years. So and it is hard to get change. It is hard. My own view is that it's time, because things have changed in England that have brought it on anyway. The Premiership and the inability of our players to get in over in England. We have no choice but to develop our own players now. But to answer your question about Waterford, they're going to be under pressure if they don't go up. And if any team in that first division this year, gets 6 points off the top, Like there's no playoff anymore.
I know.
And their fans are they gonna keep coming? I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
But it's a tough division, the first division. There's good teams down there, but
I actually feel for Cove because Cove lost a lot of players. I was actually talking to a Cove player last week. I won't mention his name, but he said at training pretty much last week that it was just like, you know, he kind of looked around and there was a lot of players gone, you know. So it's tough, you know.
Yeah, hopefully Cove will do well. And their marketing is very well at the moment. I know you've probably seen it yourself.
Yeah.
And like we'd all kind of, I suppose, when you support Cork City or Cork, Cove is a fantastic club. I remember when we were up and they were in Premier Division, it was brilliant.
I remember
it was brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant, and we were under savage pressure not to lose those games. You'd love to see Cove back up again. But you know, it's tough. Like I think they're thinking, you know, under 19, under 17 national leagues, under 15 national leagues, under 13 national teams. So are Cove Ramblers in a position to provide, you know, buses for all these games? You know, I think there needs to be strategic decision made. And honestly, in my view, there's about 7 clubs in Ireland who could possibly go to another level, and the rest of them could be in a regionalised league below it. You know, you know, like the under 19s are now. You know, so you'd just be playing your area, and if you get promoted, you get up to and have a chance of getting into that Premier Division. That's my own view.
Good view, though.
Yeah, well.
I think Roy O'Donovan could have had a view like that as well. I know he gave an interview a while back saying the way it works in Australia is like a lot of companies sponsor the league and stuff. So, you know, obviously things are still a bit tight in Ireland, but like maybe they need to look at that. Like they need to listen to opinions.
Absolutely. I think what Roy was bringing back there, he had a lot of knowledge. I met him myself and I spoke to. I put it in my book. Book 2. At the end, and I looked at the Australian model and what they were after doing. So essentially, they centralise control of the league. A bit like Munster Rugby, a bit like there are a few centralising control, but they're what's very interesting to me is they were developing football in areas that football wasn't strong before, or you know had potential. So imagine a Kerry or a Mayo. What they did in Australia is an area like that for potential. They brought all the clubs there for pre-season because they were controlling the clubs, and they made a big push for these new areas, you know, and I think only with central control over the clubs to some degree can that happen. My issue overall is that like the clubs, like say Shamrock Rovers, now are going full time their own. There's no guidance from above. I think Shamrock Rovers, I wish them the best. I hope they do well, and I like, you know, genuinely, because they've done it the right way. But in my opinion, the FAI should be coming on board and saying, okay, full time football is something we're going to do in 20 years time, and this is the plan to it, or full-time football is not, we're not interested in it. And I think that guidance, and in Australia that's what they did. They decided, you know what, we need to build a full-time industry here, but we're the governing association, we need to do it. And so there was actually a government report, and they disbanded the former, I think it was called Soccer Australia, because they weren't happy with how they were doing it, and they created a new entity that then took over soccer in Australia. And now it's going, as Roy would tell you, it's going from, it's fantastic, their crowds are up. They're doing better in their Asian version of the Champions League. So I think there's a lot to be gathered overall from taking different examples, not just from, like, obviously Australia's a long way away, but from around Europe as well, you know. My difficulty with the Conroy report, I don't know if you're familiar with it, it was a report on the League of Ireland done 2 years ago, and they didn't look at any other examples, you know, around Europe, and I think that's what you need to be doing, you know. Can't really just be saying, let's go from 12 to 10 teams, and that'll fix it. And
there's probably, the way they're doing it, it seems like there's one man that's saying, right, this is that. There should be maybe a vote or something, or like.
I don't know. Like there was supposed consultations and that, the Premier Clubs Alliance and all that, but I suppose I have my own views. Change is difficult. Of course. Change is difficult, but what I see is there's a bit of silence in respect of full-time football from the FAI, and I just don't understand it, because we, in the books that I wrote, and like we got the benefits of full-time football, right? Which was, it can be seen today in the Irish national team. All of the players, and like Neal Horgan hasn't gone on to the Irish national team yet, but all of the players, Wes Houlihan, Kevin Doyle, Shane Long, there's a few more. Myler, they all came through full-time football in Ireland. McLean, even though McLean left a part-time there because it went down and up, but they were there's a reason. It's not a coincidence that we had full-time football here for a few years, and we produced all these players for the national team.
But even Seamus Coleman as well.
Seamus Coleman, Sligo, a huge example of it. Sligo were full-time. So that there's an absence of understanding that, in my view, and that's something that could be sustainable if, going back to your point, if they brought in a kind of they do it in a reasonable way, like they're probably salary cap is probably wise, you know what I mean?
Of course.
And it can happen. Like Iceland are gone full time. John Coughlan tells me the Iceland clubs for the last 2 or 3 years. So you're kind of thinking it's 300,000 people in Iceland, do you know? But we give out about rugby and we say they have control our GA. And we just need, in my opinion, we just need to look at ourselves and say, actually, we could do this, but we need everyone on board.
Definitely. And it's some good suggestions. Now, I think someone like yourself and a couple of lads should campaign this and make sure.
Yeah, that's what the books are for. That's what the books are for.
I like it, definitely. Now, I've got to ask you a couple of questions being a hardcore City fan. Now, you probably can't pick one, but who's the best you play with? City.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me this. It's difficult. I couldn't pick one. I'll be honest. You'd have to go through positions and stuff like that. I just, the top of my head, like Joe and George when they were playing in midfield for Cork City the year we won the league were unbelievable. Unbelievable. You top midfielders. I played with Patsy Frayne. He was incredible talent. Didn't play with Dave Barry, but I saw him. And I'd say Dave Barry, I think amongst the fans, is probably still, up there as the top player. I think that's correct. From what I saw, how good he was. Like,
he was quality.
But that's central midfield, and you still there's lots more players there. Like up front, people always say, Kevin Doyle, Shane Long, John O'Flynn probably was best at the time for us for a period.
Even Doyle said that. Kevin Doyle said like Georgie, like he said, like, even Georgie, like they've all said, like if Finney, he was unlucky with injuries.
He was.
But if he stayed fit, he was capable of doing anything. Like
Championship, Premier League. It was really exciting and Georgie and Finney had a lovely relationship on the pitch. It was and off the pitch, but it was amazing to be part of that. But I must say, like I was lucky enough to have played with John Coughlan and Pat Morley. When they were they were coming to an end, say, and I was just starting. But Morley had class, like in fairness, and players would tell you that, like just a lovely touch and that. And Coughlan was a good player. He was like he'd scramble a goal, or he had something, Coughlan, that he's brought back to the team now. And then as I'm a defender, and let's say Alan Bennett I talked about earlier, we were very lucky, and Gregor Halloran would say the same thing, to have been on the pitch with Decky Daly and Stevie Napier.
Daly still looks like he can kick a ball.
He can. In fairness, he keeps us up well. The likes of them and Fergie, I don't know who. I mean, you could go through so many fellas who were fantastic, and you're leaving out loads more. So I was very lucky. I played for 14 years, maybe 15 seasons, I think, because there was a summer soccer so I was able to play from a range, like part-time guys like Decky Daly to full-time guys like Kevin Doyle and guys who were only ever full-time, really, Joe Gamble. So it's interesting to see all those guys, and luckily a lot of us still get on, and
still talking.
Just about.
And the best you played against? That's there's so many players. I look at all the games, and I remember all the Pats lads, all the Shamrock Rovers lads. I remember being in the shed chanting songs. Who do you reckon is the best you played against?
It would have been a friendly, JJ Okocha. I marked with him, and he was incredible.
I remember that game.
Different breed altogether. It was unbelievable. So he would have stood out. Amongst League of Ireland guys, there was guys who were tough. Wes Hoolan, I marked for him 3 years, and he was a tough player to mark. But I was like him. I was about the same size as him. So it suited me. Ollie Cahill then was bigger and stronger, so it was more of a challenge. There was a lot of good left wingers in the League of Ireland who've done well since, say McGinn, who's at Aberdeen now, James McLean, Paddy McCourt, Stephen Ward was a left winger before he went. So you got to play, especially when we were full time, you got to play against a lot of guys who went on to have great careers, who were all playing on the left wing for some reason.
Make a life hard for you. And your greatest achievement to date, because I reckon we can see you back at City, hopefully coaching, doing something big, even a manager, who knows. But for you, biggest achievement?
The league, it has to be the league. We won the cup after, and the Setanta Cup was great in the time. The first division was fantastic. To win in the last day of the season with Graham Cummins.
I remember that,
it was an amazing experience, right? But
still feeling the effects of that.
And before I go, there is a point there that Graham Cummins is playing. in Scotland at the highest level.
Yeah.
Roy Donovan's playing in Australia at the highest level.
Yeah.
The Oilers in America at the highest level.
Right.
And you have Long and Myler at the moment in the Premiership. So amongst English-speaking countries in the world, we have players out there, you know. So that's how good Cork City can be, you know. The players that come from here have actually gone on to play as high as they can. Yeah. We just need to teach them more languages, I think, before we get them to Spain. But the title was amazing. Just the way it happened as well. The last day of the season, we had to win, and we turned up. You know,
Kearney's goal.
Yeah, Kearney was great.
I ended up on the pitch for that goal actually.
Yeah, and great to see Liam back at the club. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Liam and John Cotter has done very well while he's been there. But Liam coming back in as well. It's important to have former players out. I would say that. Yeah. I would like more like the likes of maybe Dan Murray. You know, I think would be brilliant for the club going forward, and others. And Billy Woods has gone back at certain times given a role, but Liam will bring something, you know. And in my first book, I gave kind of Liam's character away to people who didn't know him, like, you know, a little bit. And he's tough. He's a tough individual, and people wouldn't see that. See him a small little left winger. He's a tough man. He's a tough man.
Connemara.
Maradona. Yeah. But he scored that goal that day, and he was often the scorer of important goals. He scored in the Santa Cup final. He scored against Malmo at a time when we were looking to do well in Europe, and he had that knack scoring goals, and luckily he showed up, and Flinny got the other one. Happy days. But look, Cork City this year, they have a chance, you know.
They do. And Dundalk has been raided a tiny bit.
Yeah, it has.
It has.
Rovers now will be a threat as well, you know. Yeah. So look, either way, if they don't win the league, you're not going to say that it's like if John has finished second in 3 years in a row and won a cup and got to a cup final, that's amazing, you know. So I would keep saying this, and Gareth Cronin, who's a former player of Cork City, a very good player, he's said this to me recently, is that like Cork City should be aiming to do is finish top 3 every year and run in the cup and in Europe, and John has provided that, you know. And even if they don't win the league next year, he's if they're in the top 3, Mary's done an amazing job, and people need to realise that, because there is sometimes people are, you know, in Cork they want to win the league. Like if they win the cup, supposedly under pressure last year, the man is doing an amazing job. He's doing an amazing job. Talk to people who know he's doing an amazing job. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they can win the league, but we'll see in that one.
Neil, absolute honour.
Absolutely, thank you. Pleasure.
Thanks a million.
Thanks.
Check out all the latest interviews with Jerry and the Stars weekly on Sports Matters.